The city of Jersey City, New Jersey has decided to fine and punish landlords who refuse to rent to convicted criminals. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. Alright, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's coming out of Jersey City, New Jersey, obviously up there near the New York City area, and one of the most anti-landlord places in the entire country. I believe they have rent control up there, extremely strong tenant protections, and now one of the new laws that they've passed says that landlords cannot look at a tenant's criminal history when making rental decisions. Now that's absolutely insane in my opinion, okay? You're taking away one of the best tools to help ensure we put good tenants up in our properties. And you know what? This doesn't just affect landlords, it affects tenants as well, because who wants to live next to one criminal, okay? A person who's been convicted of a crime, a person who could possibly commit crimes against you. No one. But they didn't think of it that way. They saw it as, oh, well, this is somehow discriminatory. That's the excuse they use on a lot of these things, okay? In their minds, and this is the truth, okay? They say, okay, well, this is biased against people who are racial minorities when you say that you won't rent to somebody with a criminal record. Well, just to even think that way, you have to imply that one, everyone who's a racial minority has a criminal record. And that's a bunch of garbage right there. Two, people with who are racial minorities are nothing but criminals. I mean, when you think like that, right, then you're a piece of garbage. You're a piece of garbage for even thinking like that in the first place. It's just not true. And, I personally believe that most people who have any sort of common sense would know better than to put that kind of stereotype on another group of people, okay? So, it's very frustrating when I read these sort of laws and then read the articles and their reasoning behind it, okay? It is very, very frustrating. I don't like it. Instead, what I want to see is accountability. And I mean accountability for the person who commits a crime having to take accountability for their actions, which means that, hey, it might be harder for me to find somewhere to rent if I have a criminal record. It might be harder for me to find a job if I have a criminal record. Maybe I shouldn't commit the crime in the first place and I won't have to deal with these issues. But no, they don't want that. Instead, they want to try to force those people onto force them onto landlords who don't want to have to deal with them. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. So what do you think of this Jersey City law that basically takes away a landlord's ability to look at a tenant's criminal background? Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think this is going to actually benefit anyone? Do you think this is actually going to benefit anyone other than a bunch of criminals? Okay? I don't. I really don't. I don't think it's going to benefit anyone. I think it's just a feel-good measure that really it's going to get a bunch of smaller landlords caught up in a trap. And that trap has been set by the state, right? And the state is going after these landlords for violating this law. So let's get into the article and see what it says. This article is coming from jcitytimes.com, and it says, state hits landlords discriminating against those with criminal records. Wow, discriminating against those with criminal records. Like, oh, I'm going to treat people with criminal records differently. You know that murderer over there, the one who went to prison for murder? I'm going to treat them differently than I would treat the people who haven't murdered anyone. Oh, that's illegal? Okay, whatever. Okay, anyway, let's get into the article. 5 Jersey City property owners have been accused of violating a state law forbidding landlords from denying apartments to applicants with prior criminal records. The action stems from the state's adoption 2 years ago of the Fair Chance in Housing Act, which, according to the New Jersey Attorney General's office, is the first state law in the country that provides broad protections against housing discrimination on the basis of prior criminal history. Notices of violation, the first step in the enforcement process, were sent this week to housing providers in 23 municipalities spread over 12 counties. What do you want to bet that these landlords didn't know about the law? I mean, let's be honest here, okay? these laws are changing so quickly and so often, and there's so many different laws happening, right, that I would be willing to bet that the landlord, the property manager, whoever was in charge of this wasn't knowledgeable about this change of the law, and now they're getting caught up in this whole nonsense. Okay, now I know it is our responsibility to keep track of the landlord tenant law, right? But there's a lot of landlords out there, and a lot of people are self-managing. It's hard. It's very, very hard, especially when you have a relatively new law such as this one. You might have been doing business in one manner for the last 20 years, don't read about the new law, anything. Next thing you know, you're getting fined and punished for this thing they put in place. Now, this is my gripe with government. It's not like they send a bulletin out to everybody or send, hey, you know what, we're going to send information out to every landlord across the entire state telling them about these new changes. No, they expect you to find this information on your own. Sometimes people, they miss stuff, okay? It's honest mistakes. Now, do I think the law is right? No. I absolutely don't think that this law is needed. I don't think it's justified, but I always say follow the law in the place where you are doing business. Follow the law there. That is the easiest way to stay out of trouble. If you don't like the way that the laws are written there, leave. Go somewhere else where the laws are in your favor. That's my suggestion. 5 Jersey City properties received notices of violation, including 60 Atlantic Street, 105 Atlantic Street, 33 Fulton Avenue, 61 Randolph Avenue, and 87 Mallory Avenue. Under the law, housing providers are prohibited from inquiring about arrests or charges that did not result in a criminal conviction, expunged convictions, convictions erased through executive pardon, vacated and otherwise legally nullified convictions, juvenile adjudications of delinquency, or sealed records. However, after approving an applicant for housing and making the applicant a conditional offer of housing, a housing provider may consider a conviction for murder, aggravated sexual assault, kidnapping, arson, human trafficking, sexual assault, and endangering the welfare of a child, whether the applicant is a lifetime registered sex offender, and whether they have been convicted of certain indictable offenses. So you go through the whole process, and then after you get the applicant in there, you find out this person is a sex offender. So you just wasted all of your time. Okay? They say, oh, well, now you can consider that information. No, this is garbage. It's a garbage law. It wastes landlords' time and money, okay? It wastes the tenant's time because the tenant would know immediately whether whether someone would rent to them if they could just come out and just say it up front, right? So, yeah, there are landlords out there who will rent to these people, right? And as I've mentioned before, a lot of the times it is in very bad parts of town in very low quality housing. So, yeah, it is what it is. If that's all you can get when you're first getting out of prison or with your extreme criminal record, then so be it. But that is the price you have to pay for the things that you did. Now, if you want some way out of this, you know what my suggestion is, and this is what I've personally thought about, right? Get, everything legal, go a long period of time, as long as you possibly can, and then purchase your own property. Nobody can exclude you if you own your property. Be it a trailer, be it a condo, be it a house. If you own your own place, then, you can't be denied, right? I know New Jersey is very expensive, but that would probably be the best option for somebody in this situation. So, yeah, to get housing, that might be what you have to do. Names of property owners were not provided by the AG, nor are they available through city tax records under Daniel's Law, under which government agencies, among others, are prohibited from releasing certain types of information to protect the privacy of those requesting it. Since the law went into effect, the AG's Division of Civil Rights has brought more than 150 enforcement actions against housing providers around the state. Outcomes of those actions couldn't be readily learned. Yeah, to me, you know what this is? It's a cash grab, okay? They know that landlords are going to be in violation of this. So, I think that the easiest way to get around this sort of law would be to just, comply with it. comply with it to the best of your abilities, do your screening without violating the law, and find other reasons to reject people if a person doesn't have all the other screening factors. Now, of course they're trying to take those things away from you too, like, oh, you shouldn't be able to look at a person's credit history, oh, you shouldn't be able to look at a person's eviction history, oh, you shouldn't be able to look at their employment history or their income or what their source of income is, right? And it'll get to the point where you're renting and you just have to throw your hands up in the air, and like somebody walks in the door and they're like, well, you're the first one through the door, so I have to rent the place to you according to the government. And when that happens, right, a lot of people aren't going to want to be landlords anymore. So this further exacerbates the housing shortage, makes a lot of people not want to be landlords, makes a lot of people not want to rent their properties out, and makes a lot of people who are currently in the business want to leave the business. So whatever, I don't care, okay? Let these places fall. Let these places that put these stupid laws in place fall flat on their faces, okay? That is fine with me. In fact, that might be what's necessary in order to get the kind of change needed for things to really improve.